Hi everyone, so I wanted to have a quick little chat about PR. I'm just going to first start by, yes, I have pulled out the wigs again. I am trying to rehab my hair a little bit, so I'm just going to give it a little break from really doing anything, and I'm just going to enjoy my wigs because they are fun, and I did miss them, and I like the way that they look better than my real hair right now, so there's that. But I wanted to talk about PR because I know it's a bit of a hot button issue within the low buy, no buy community. You can even call it that. I mentioned this in a Get Ready With Me that I did not that long ago, and I said that I would be talking about it. And I just wanted to put it out there because I know there has been a lot of discussions about this, and it's something that I've been thinking about. You know, can I do what I want to do? Can I still be a conscious consumer? Can I still say the things that I want to say and still accept PR? And how I'm going to handle that. And I just really want to be open and honest with everybody about everything. So I did come up with a pro-con thing, and I looked at the pros being new product, obviously, new content. A lot of the times receiving something in PR is an excuse for me to use the product on camera to create new content. Sometimes I get stumped. I think that's why so many people do these like full face of everything new and Get Ready With Me new products and all that sort of stuff. Just having new products, new things to talk about, even if it's not necessarily makeup related, is a new content thing. Like, I did accept another new wig, not like I needed one, to do a review on, because it's an excuse for me to do more content, and that's something that I look forward to doing. And it's not about makeup, but it's like, did I need a new wig? No. But is it going to be fun to use it? Yes, it's always been fun, but I'm always upfront about all that stuff. There's the comparison to older products, older items. Sometimes I get asked, what is this product like in comparison to this thing? I can't afford it. I can't afford to test it. I have a very small channel for fun, so if I have the privilege of being able to try new things, I was just trying to find the right word. I have the privilege to try new things and I can compare it to others and stuff that I already have. That seems like a really worthwhile use of my time and of the product. Brand connections is another important thing to me because you never know where it could lead. I've mentioned it a few times, but working for a brand, doing some sort of product development or being involved somewhere on the creative side of a brand would be an absolute dream for me. So it feels strange to turn down any possible connection with a brand, but that doesn't mean that I have to be positive about the product. So, there is that fine line. Would you rather say no to a brand and then not have to, give the brand a negative review, or what? So I gotta talk about the cons in a second. And then the last thing I thought of was no financial hits, which is a huge thing for me because I am on a no buy for a reason. I can't afford to buy stuff. And getting new products sometime might be the only way that I would be able to actually have new product and new things to use because I can't afford to do it. And not that I need certain things like eyeshadow palettes. I'll explain in a second. I have a story. But sometimes maybe I do want or need a particular product that I can't actually afford. I have other videos I'll be talking about soon about my no buy, about how I can't actually afford the stuff that I think I can. This next year is going to be really, really difficult for me, a lot worse than this past year has been. So I have to be very conscious about that and receiving product in exchange for review. I've never accepted money. I'm one of those bad people that other influencers complain about because I'm happy to take the free product and I'll happily incorporate it and talk about it and be honest about it, receiving it as PR because it's free product, and that's something fun for me because this is a hobby. So I'm sorry for those people who are influencers and want to get paid for their reviews because I am terrible and I like the product. But the cons, it's excess unnecessary products for personal use when I do look at it, because this is a hobby. This is not how I spend the majority of my time, but this is my number one hobby. But it is excessive for personal use when I don't have space for a separate collection. Like, I have personal collection and then everything's sort of merged together between the stuff that I would use just for filming and stuff that I use in my day-to-day life. There's a less connection to monetary value, which can be incredibly difficult when you are talking about a product and whether or not it's worth it. Definitely when you spend your own money, you have a different appreciation for it. I know that firsthand, that the products I've received for free, stuff I've received as gifts, I find easier to let go of than things I've purchased myself. Just one example. And sometimes when people are asking if something's worth the money and I paid for it and it was not great, then I'm much more able to make that connection than if I tried something that wasn't so great that I didn't pay for. There's that pressure to be kind, to receive more product, to stay on the list, or to get more opportunities. If you are positive about a product, brands tend to like that. They tend to be more favorable. You see this with large channels as well. They get taken off PR lists if they don't give a glowing review. It's hard for the honesty to be there 100% of the time if you want to stay on the good list, the good side. And that's sort of one thing that I've been weighing, where I'm like, I want those positive brand connections, but I don't want to sacrifice anything else. Like, I don't want to be dishonest or even just admit those truths because I don't want to like hurt a brand. I want to just be upfront about everything that I'm feeling. So I'm definitely having to consider that when I accept product and being like, you know what, I'm going to be truthful about this. And if they don't like it and they choose not to send me any more product going forward, then that's a choice I have to make and something that I have to be okay with. And so far I have been okay with that. I have been removed from PR lists. I have had brands no longer respond to me or have basically said that they or sort of terminating any sort of partnership that we had because I didn't speak positively about the product or use it in the way that they thought I was going to. That's just a choice that I made. And there's waste with packaging. So much excess packaging with PR stuff sometimes, and sometimes it's just a lot of excess paper and, you know, the cardboard and everything else that goes along with it that is just not necessary. A lot of brands don't seem to know how to pack smartly and aren't really efficient that way. And sometimes it's like a really huge box for a little tiny product. And so, you know, I just wonder, is there that disconnect between what I say and what I do? And I don't want that to be, but I also look at all the pros and I look at all the positive things, which is why I still accept PR, and I have still accepted PR as of late. I still, you know, will tell brands that I'm interested in their products, that I would use the product and I would talk about it and I will give my honest opinion and kind of leave it at that, whether or not they think that's good enough, whether or not they will send me product. I did have a brand recently send me too much product. Coastal Scents actually offered to send me something and I said, sure, okay. And I thought, okay, I'll take a set of brushes and an eyeshadow palette and I'll do a palette bingo and it'll be fun because I'll get a new palette to play with. I've never tried Coastal Scents shadows, so that'll work well for me. I want to see what they're like. I've heard other people talk about it. New brushes, didn't really need, but I was like, okay, I can talk about them. And then they ended up sending me 3 eyeshadow palettes, a blush palette, a concealer palette, like 3 or 4 brush sets. Like, they sent me way too much product, which I did not ask for. And I'm very flattered and very grateful, but it was overwhelming to get this huge package where I was like, wow, I did not need all this stuff. This is more than I actually need. So there's that sort of issue as well. Like, I truly was overwhelmed by it, and it was such a nice thing, but I was sitting on my couch and I was opening the stuff and like looking at everything and like kind of overwhelmed is all I can say. Is that I wasn't expecting it and I just don't feel like I need or deserve all that stuff. I really am, as you can probably tell, struggling with this whole concept, and I have a lot on my mind, and I have specifically just related to this as well, just knowing how little I'm actually going to be able to afford over this next year and how very careful I have to be with my money and how I have to, you know, basically make every product last as long as possible. Like, receiving free product is going to be very nice and very helpful for me, and I know I'm very lucky to be able to be in a position to accept the few things that do come my way. Doesn't mean I'm going to accept everything, but just that I know I am very, very lucky to be able to do so. So I don't have a concrete answer right now as to what I'm going to do moving forward. I feel like it's going to change constantly. All I can say is that I'm going to be upfront about everything. Every product I receive for free, I will make sure that people know that I did receive it for free. I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not trying to be shady about it. And I know it's a very different experience for other people who are doing no buys and low buys who don't have the luxury of receiving free product. So I understand that, and I know that that might be difficult for some people, but you have to kind of find your own inspiration and what works for you, and I have to do what works for me and what's going to work for me and for my life and for my makeup and, you know, my hobby, and I can't do what necessarily is going to work for you or what you hope to see reflected from me. And I hope that makes sense, but I'm just trying to do the best for me. So I really just wanted to put that out there. I just really wanted to talk about that now before we get into so much of the no-buy stuff. And as that keeps happening, and it is something that I do address when I talk about my no-buy, that receiving product has helped tremendously when it comes to curbing those urges for new product, because you have new product coming in, so you're just not paying for it. And that's been a huge thing for me, and will probably be a factor going forward as well, and something that I can't stress enough. Just, I know how lucky I am, and I know it's different for everybody who's watching, and I know the position I am makes it different, but I will continue to address that moving forward. I'm not trying to hide it. I'm not trying to bury it or say that it's something else. So I would like to hear from you and what your thoughts are, not even just directly related to me, but just how you feel in general about no buys, low buys, people receiving free product. You know, how do you, what do you think about it? Do you think it's a problem? Do you consider gifts from other people being an issue? Does it fall along the same line with you? Like if you were to receive gifts from people on a no-buy, is it the same thing? Anyway, let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.